Futures, Jim Carroll. This is it. This is the home broadcast studio. If you had tuned in about a half hour ago, I went out live on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and it was a disaster. I'm fooling around with my mics, and I had a microphone fail, and it just didn't work, and the sound was tinny and awful. And this is part of the whole thing of trying to figure out how to do things in here. What I'm doing is I'm forcing myself to go live every day because there's a billion little things down here when you have your own virtual home broadcast studio that can go wrong. So I filmed a great clip yesterday as well, and I had sound problems with that one because I've been trying different ways of plugging things in and didn't work yesterday as well. So I'm forcing myself to redo yesterday's again, and then I'm going to redo today's again as well. I'm going to do it live because what the heck, the only way to get good at doing live is to do it live, and sometimes you have a disaster. And the more you do it, the better at it you get at it, and you never have a disaster again. So here goes, tune in, hope you enjoy this one. This is a redo of yesterday. Hi, I'm Jim Carroll. I'm a futures trends and innovation expert. It's probably a good time to take a look at some of the key trends which are going to redefine your world and change the world of business at an absolutely furious pace. We live in an absolutely transformative period of time with so many trends coming together all at once, which are providing for our world to be disrupted in very significant ways. Everything from 3D printing to artificial intelligence to cryptocurrencies and distributed technologies. We are witnessing the acceleration of self-driving cars and a variety of other technologies which are reshaping entire industries at an absolutely furious pace. The underlying trend that is occurring here is every single company is becoming a software company. Every single industry is becoming a technology industry. And what this does is it speeds up the pace of innovation. In the technology industry, we've seen Moore's Law for years. The processing power of a computer chip doubles every 18 months and the cost cuts in half. And that speed of change is now coming to every single industry as they become technology bound. Certainly, open source networks and global idea collaborative factories are driving forth the pace of innovation. Edge thinking is dominating, with initiatives like Kickstarter aligning for a new form of R&D that is causing faster change within industries. Companies are discovering that a lot of the innovation which is impacting their future is occurring out in global collaborative communities. In the new And I'm going to try it again because I wasn't sure I had the microphone volume set because I've been changing something. So here goes again. Hi, I'm Jim Carroll. I'm a futures trends and innovation expert. It's probably a good time to take a look at some of the key trends which are going to redefine your world and change the world of business at an absolutely furious pace. We live in an absolutely transformative period of time with so many trends coming together all at once, which are providing for our world to be disrupted in very significant ways. Everything from 3D printing to artificial intelligence to cryptocurrencies and distributed technologies. We are witnessing the acceleration of self-driving cars and a variety of other technologies which are reshaping entire industries at an absolutely furious pace. The underlying trend that is occurring here is every single company is becoming a software company. Every single industry is becoming a technology industry. And what this does is it speeds up the pace of innovation. In the technology industry, we've seen Moore's Law for years. The processing power of a computer chip doubles every 18 months and the cost cuts in half. And that speed of change is now coming to every single industry as they become technology bound. Certainly, open source networks and global idea collaborative factories are driving forth the pace of innovation. Edge thinking is dominating, with initiatives like Kickstarter aligning for a new form of R&D that is causing faster change within industries. Companies are discovering that a lot of the innovation which is impacting their future is occurring out in global collaborative communities. In the new garages of the 21st century, there are individuals who are discovering the ideas that will transform our world and reshape entire industries. What is happening here as this unfolds is that small organizations increasingly can define the future of larger organizations. Think about the little device Square, which completely redefined the global credit card industry because they provided a simple way for people to undertake credit card transactions through their iPhone. Similar levels of disruption are beginning to occur in every single industry as the very essence of what innovation is and where it occurs begins to change. New capabilities and new ways of doing things are leading to the inconceivable becoming conceivable in a short period of time. The levels and types of research and development occurring in industries are undergoing significant change as all of these trends accelerate as well. It's said that distributed energy resources in the energy sector are growing 3 times faster than traditional energy investment.
The whole process of conceiving the future is changing because of new design methodologies. We are in a world of rapid concept generation, rapid concept development, and rapid prototyping, driven by advanced methodologies, new software, and 3D printing technologies. We are in a world in which suddenly the impossible becomes possible faster than ever before through a new iterative redesign type of process. In this world of hyperconnectivity, everything becomes smart and everything gains intelligence. Have you thought about what is happening with light poles? They're becoming Fitbits for cities. We can embed environmental sensing technology into them to monitor for air quality. They're becoming smart car charging stations with embedded credit card technology so that we can plug in electric vehicles anywhere. They're becoming Wi-Fi stations as we accelerate towards a smart city infrastructure. The big issue with knowledge is that skills access is the new gold. Look at what's happening with automotive companies. They are in a rush to get computer skills, high-tech skills, skills necessary to understand what is happening with the acceleration of the industry into self-driving technology. They are investing billions of dollars to get the right minds to do the right work to take themselves into the faster future. You know, put it together, we've got people who are thinking big and bold. There's a lot of Elon Musks about. One of my favorite phrases came from Tesla's SEC filing last year, where they basically said, we have no experience to date in manufacturing vehicles at the high volumes that we anticipate for the Model 3. And to be successful, we're gonna have to figure out how to do things that we've never done before. And talk about a brash statement. And that's the type of attitude which is coming into every single industry and causing very significant disruption. That's what you need to prepare yourself for in a future in which the world belongs to those who are fast.
Futurist Jim Carroll from the home broadcast studio. Do you remember your life before COVID? Remember what it was like? We talked about the future, we talked about trends, we talked about disruptive ideas. We were talking about a world of autonomous vehicle technology, the acceleration of trends in the energy sector, battery storage technology. We were talking about 24-hour farming. We were talking about the impact of genomic medicine and the acceleration of science all around us. The world was full of opportunity. And then everything changed with the global pandemic. Here's what's happened with a lot of organizations. If you caught me talking earlier this week, I was speaking about the dreaded disease of what I call aggressive indecision. And this is what happens when organizations go into a state of indecisiveness. They're not quite sure what's going to happen next. They're not quite sure what's going to happen with the global economy. And they stop making the decisions and the investments they need to make to align themselves to the faster future. And one thing that happens with this reality, and I've seen it in previous economic downturns, is they start, not watching the trends that matter. They don't start putting their strategy under the umbrella of the trends which were around before and how those trends might be shaping their world in the future. They really go into a state of sort of indecisiveness and aggressive indecision, and they pause. They forget about the future. But here's the thing, the future hasn't ended. The future hasn't come to an end. There's a lot of trends that are out there. Every single trend that I was speaking about before COVID and the global pandemic hit is still very, very real. Industries are in the midst of absolutely massive transformative change. And the interesting thing with COVID-19, it is actually sped up some of these trends to an unprecedented degree. So I want you to start thinking about the future again, because it is absolutely critical. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play you a video clip. I was on stage in New Orleans at an education conference just over a year ago, and I was challenging the audience to think about their world by perhaps looking back from the year 2030, considering where we were in 2030 and putting that in context of where we were in 2019. Give it a watch, and I'll be back with you in just a moment.
Once we looked back in time from the future, we came to realize that the future turned out to be way bigger than we ever expected it would. You know, at one moment in time, we will look back at the agricultural industry and say to ourselves, at one moment in time, we used to farm when the sun was up, using manual labor and farmers and tractors. And then one day we woke up and we were doing 24-hour farming with a lot of robotic technology, farming 24 hours a day, driven and managed by a fleet of operators inside buildings. One day we will wake up and we will look back in time and remember the day when we used to actually go to stores to get the things we need. And then we woke up and one day we realized we were in a world in which the products came to us. One day we will look back and realize that we fixed people after they became sick. But because of advances in genomic DNA-based medicine, we had increasing knowledge of what it is that they were likely to become sick with, and we could architect the delivery of healthcare solutions based upon that knowledge. One day we realized we had people called truck drivers who actually drove physical trucks. And then all of a sudden we found ourselves in a world with autonomous vehicle technology, trucks with no doors, no windows, no human inside, which were being driven by people thousands of miles away. One day we'll look back at the world of manufacturing and realize that we were in a world of manufacturing in which we would produce millions of products that were all the same. But then with 3D printing and end of runway manufacturing, we found ourselves in a world in which we were doing mass customization, in which we were not designing products that were all the same for millions of people, but we were designing products which were uniquely customized for every single customer and were 3D printed on an end of runway manufacturing site close to their home. And the entire concept of inventory forever disappeared. There are massive transformative trends that are underway today, which are forever shaping the world of every single industry.
Remember the future? Remember what it was like? Remember when the world was full of opportunity and you looked at what was coming next and you said, boy, I want to be a part of that. I want to be part of those disruptive trends. So how do you get back into that mindset? Well, I'll suggest to you a webpage, 2030.jimcarroll.com. This is a blog post that I wrote before the big global pandemic, which took apart 20 different industries and put in perspective what those industries are going to look like in the year 2030, given the trends that are underway. And here's what I'm doing for my clients now. I'm re-examining these very trends in the context of how the global pandemic, COVID-19, and this big, massive economic shock that we're going through, how those have changed these trends, how they've sped them up, how they've accelerated them, how they've disrupted them. There's a lot of information in that blog post. For example, you can find video and extensive discussion about what is going on in the world of healthcare. And a lot of these trends, boy, they've sped up to a huge degree. You can find insight on what is going on in the world of transportation as we shift the world of transportation from diesel to battery, as we shift the world of transportation from gas to battery, as we shift the world of transportation from vehicles that we use to drive to vehicles that we drive themselves. Those trends have not disappeared. You can find discussion about what is happening in the insurance industry, where we're seeing massive change to business models, where we are increasingly underwriting insurance policies based upon real-time information driven by Sensor World. 24-hour farming, and on the page you can actually find me hanging out with a bunch of cows. How good is that? The thing is, the future hasn't stopped. The future hasn't gone away. The future is still with us, and you need to really understand how it is changing in order to accelerate your capabilities, align your strategy to these new realities, make sure that you've got the right skills and capabilities to take you forward into this faster future, that you're doing all the things that you need to do to align yourself to this world in which the future belongs to those who are fast. Look, just before the global pandemic hit, I had a brand new book come out. Absolutely nobody has noticed it because we're all focused on different things. But it's called Think Big, Start Small, Scale Fast. That's the mindset that you need. You need to think really big about where we're going with the future. You need to start a lot of small scale projects to align yourself to the reality, the trends unfolding around you, and you got to be ready to scale fast. Boy, have we learned that in the last 6 months with the pandemic. So that's it for now. Futurist Jim Carroll in the home broadcast studio. You can learn more about my capabilities in this massive, complex canvas of creativity, which is all occurring from my basement. Learn more at virtual.jimcarroll.com. Have a good day.